Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ready, Set, Live podcast. I am your host, Captain Rex Witkamp. Today I have a special guest. I always have special guests, and I've drawn so much inspiration from my listeners and from this particular project and it's because of my guests. And today I'm happy to announce I have a gentleman who's a successful entrepreneur. He has been leading the tattoo industry in Dover, Delaware, with a shop called Artistic Additions Tattoos. And Mr. Larry Normile is here with us today. And I'd like to have him on the guest to introduce himself and just explain a little bit. Hi, Larry. How you doing?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for taking time out today from your busy schedule. I know that having in the billionaire status is going to take a lot of effort and time away. Really thank you for your time.
You're welcome. If I could say one thing, that's what I would wish I could buy is time. I am a very busy man, but I take time for something that I see as positive, and this is what I feel today. I feel like we're meant to be.
Thanks a lot, Larry. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell my listeners a little bit about your efforts and how you got to be where you are and what you're doing.
So I started 20 years ago, and when I started, I was a young guy, just got out of jail, did some time around wrong people. When I went to jail, I ended up meeting a guy. Two of my cellmates were actually in for murder, and one was a business guy, and one was just a crackhead on the street. So through talking to them, they just told me that I needed to take that street mentality I had out and put it into a business, and I could do something with my life because of my energy and the way I was. And I didn't know what the hell they were talking about at that time. I just I listened to them because they were like a father figure to me, because my dad passed away when I was 16. So with that, I related to them. When I got out, I started working at a tattoo shop after years of trying. And I got in, and then, one day the owner of the shop showed me true colors and showed me who she really cared about and what they cared about. So I ended up opening up my own shop. Needless to say, I didn't know what I was doing, failed twice. So now 11 years I've had this and own this successful business and have millions of dollars over doing it. So where I'm at in my life now is I have kids. I have 4 children, and I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful for every minute of my life actually now. But I am building a business that I built this business now that I'm stepping away and I'm going to the motivational side of things so I can help other people, because right now that's what I've been doing on top of tattooing is I've been working with youth and troubled youth and businesses, and I help start new businesses, and I help troubled youth. And I feel like that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And the billionaire mindset is just growth and understanding you have to be able to change your mindset.
Fantastic. I mean, what an incredible story of success overcoming challenges. And
A lot.
you had a point in time where something must have clicked to change your direction, right?
So the first click was when I was 16 and my dad passed. I went into this dark stage, and then I couldn't get out of it. But actually, the spark that really sparked was last October. I invested in some stuff. I was knee deep down. I was $70,000 invested into something. Almost lost my wife over it. Financially, it was one of them burdens that I couldn't get over. It was like everything I tried to do to get over it just kept coming something more and more. And I kept dealing with it. And then finally, I was sitting at my shop one day, and this is why I started this program with Les. I was on this YouTube, and it just kind of clicked up, and I clicked on this thing, and I listened to a Les Brown podcast or a YouTube thing. And it kind of was like, never give up on yourself, right? It was one of them strong things. And he said, you got to be hungry. And when he said that, it was like something sparked, right? And then the very next podcast after that one was this TD Jakes one. And then next thing you know, I'm on the floor, just like, praying and just asking for help and trying to like get my mindset right, where, because even though I'm financially stable and successful, right? Like I never enjoyed it. I never enjoyed the growth. I never sat back and looked like, man, I went from a kid that didn't make nothing to a kid that doesn't really, I'm over here stressing over something that most people would probably, like, I'm stressing over, but it really wasn't hurting me. It was just like one of them, I gave up too much money and I shouldn't have, right? But it really didn't, like, kill me. It didn't hurt me. It didn't get me to the point. It just had me ready, almost my wife ready to leave me. That was it. So I felt like my mindset was I had to prove to myself, prove to my wife, and prove to my kids that no matter what I'm going through in my life, I'm going to change. Like this is going to be something different. And now, since that day, I have now successfully got back on track. I'm in the green with everything. I'm not in the negative of anything. I brought every dollar I lost, I got back. And I am now in a mentor program. I'm going to a power summit meeting. I'm doing a lot of things. And I also, my son came to me at 17 years old and says, Dad, I'm ready. I know what I want to do with my life, right? And he wasn't all the way ready, but I knew he was ready enough. So I put him in a program with me with Les Brown and John and everybody else. And since that time, he hasn't stopped, right? So at the end of the day, I know the enjoyment is supposed to be about myself, but realistically, I'm more excited about what my son is doing for him, like watching him grow into a man. Because when I was 16, I didn't have a father to show me how to be a man because he passed away. So I'm excited on this journey.
That's amazing because you're not only living your life to the fullest now, you're actually setting up a legacy for your lineage.
Yes.
And that children are the future. And where we're at
Yes.
now in society is a very challenging time. And
Yes.
a lot of people are needing to hear the message. And and that's a great segue to go ahead and introduce our topics today. I'm on a rant lately because this is so important. This idea, it's a set of ideas, right, that I call the five tenets. And the definition of a tenet is a core principle or a belief that is true for a company or an organization or even for ourselves. And taking each point at a time, we're going to break them down, and I want your perspective on them because each of these relates to how you overcame and getting in some sort of a process came to where you're at now. So
Yeah.
the five tenets real quick for my listeners to remind everybody: rising above mediocrity, elevating your standards, visualizing the absolute best version of yourself, living up to your highest potential, and then giving purpose for your true potential in life. And then we're going to run right through it. So taking it from the top, Larry, talk to me about rising above mediocrity. How did that serve you when you went and successfully changed your business around and changed your life around?
Whew. So it's been like, how can I explain it to you in the best way? A roller coaster, right? You get on the roller coaster and you're going up. Your nerves are like all the way there though, and then when you hit that top, you're like, oh man, I'm here. And when you go down, it's like this rush, right? To the point where you don't want to do it, but you're doing it. And then when you get down to the bottom, you're like, I did it, right? I've rode that roller coaster 100 times, and don't get me wrong, I can't stand roller coasters, scared to death of them. But that's just my analogy. So I've rode it so many times now. I'm on to the next level. Like, what I got to do now to get the next excitement? Because I've built that business up, and I've built my mindset up to where success is all I know. And I don't think of the poverty. I don't think of the depression. I don't think of like why that happened to me. Now I'm like, okay, it happened for a reason. Figure it out so I cannot do it again.
You just said something pretty incredible, and I want to repeat it. And that is that you built your mindset up so that success is all you know.
That's all I know.
It's an incredible statement, brother.
That is all I know, brother. I'm telling you.
That leading a life of mediocrity is a complete waste of time. And I
It
agree.
is.
And in this life, you got to have enthusiasm. And Og Mandino, with the book University of Success, he said that without enthusiasm, you're doomed to lead a life of mediocrity, but with it, you can accomplish miracles. And that's
Yeah.
a testament to where you've come from and what your experience. You took a point in your life and you rose above the mediocrity that was happening, and it served you really well and continues to serve you to this day. So I'm really proud of you.
Because you get told your whole life that, oh, like when you're in a business like mine, right? People that work for you, they make money for you, right? So it, a lot of people will say, and I've heard it a lot, is, oh, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be. And it's like, no, if it wasn't for me, I wouldn't be. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be. For you, thank you, but that's about it. I can't give you recognition on something that I know I'm doing on myself too.
Right.
Like can't nobody take that power from you. Don't let anybody take that power from you. That's what I would tell people.
That's great advice. Great advice. And, one of the things that I've learned to focus on after getting to a point in my life where I'm rising above mediocrity, the term rising above is synonymous with elevating, right? You think about rising up in an elevator or elevating a standard. You have to make a change and realize that mediocrity has to be risen above. But then what's the definition of what you're doing? And that's elevating your standards.
Yes.
Perspective as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, why it's so important for people to elevate their own standards.
Because your team follows you. At the end of the day, right? Your standards are, if your standards are low, your team standards are low. Your customer service sucks, your team's customer service sucks. So rising a standard is not just for you, it's for everybody around you. For one, you have to have a team, right? You have to have a team that understands and is willing to grow with you. And you know who they are, you know which ones are not supposed to be there. So your standards have to be so high that you have to keep going after them, because if you have all your standards in a row, I feel like your mindset's not growing. Because at the time where I was at one time, I thought everything I was doing was exactly what I was supposed to be doing. Like my standards were high as ever, but then I realized like they could be better. I'll look at somebody say something to me, or I'll have my meeting with my crew on Mondays and we'll talk about something. I'm like, dang, my standard wasn't where it should be. So understanding like your standard has to be you can never be satisfied. Les Brown said this thing, and it is true. He said, practice makes what? And people said perfect. And he said, no, take that out of your mind, because that's not what it does. And that's exactly what it is. It's the same thing. And essentially it's the same thing.
We get trapped into that mentality that, maybe practice isn't necessary, and then people accept for what it is. But, you said something amazing there too, that raise your standards and the universe is going to meet you there. You
Yes.
know who is supposed to be there. And that is, if you raise your standards, other people will rise and they'll meet you there. And that gives a definition of who is actually meeting the cut, right?
Your energy attracts other people, man. Like I believe that wholeheartedly. I was in Miami at a meeting, and a guy almost hits me with his car. I don't even know he almost hits me with his car, and turns around and he's like, "Hey, he backs up, goes to talk to me, and he liked my energy. I liked his energy. Now we're good friends. We talk all the time, And he's an astounding businessman that is just he's well off and never has to worry. You know what I mean? But because our energy reached each other's levels, we stayed together. And now we talk about our kids. He's sending me videos of his son. So exactly what you have to keep trying to improve yourself.
And that holds true because many people hold more than one hat that they wear for a responsibility in your life. You mentioned, having a team and, and everything you talked about there was for your professional side, your business side, but
Yeah.
our standards that we can elevate from and to in our personal life. And I've found it true that when you elevate a standard in yourself first, the standards that are elevated in the other areas of your life, they raise up by default. So
100%. My goal now, like my standards now are so high from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. I have to be doing something. Like you see all the cameras and the guy behind me right now, because I'm building a documentary for the last like 66 months. I've been building, well, actually almost a year. We've been building a documentary to show people I will be a billionaire, right? And when I get there, I'm going to show you the documentary film of how I did it, because I know my mindset is where it's at. I don't doubt myself whatsoever. I doubted myself years ago, but I haven't doubted myself since the day that I realized my first year opened, right? And I don't speak on money a lot because I don't really care about money. To be honest with you, I haven't even collected a paycheck in the last 6 years. My wife gets my salary. And if you want to ask her, you can ask her. I don't get a check because I'm greedy. I'm still that guy. I'm still that guy. You give me money, I'm going to blow it on something stupid. But if my business has the money, my business blows it on business stuff. Like we grow. So that's how I am. So that's
good.
all. That's why you see me on cameras.
Hey,
Documentary.
definitely in, and that's funny because you can take a screenshot and we'll do that later maybe. And it's future endeavor, that a future reality is being created right now because you're visualizing it. You are living your life out of a visualization of a future endpoint. And
Oh, yeah.
that leads me to the next point, and that's how is it important to visualize the best version of ourselves, and why is that important?
Why was it important? That is a great one. When I doubted myself and didn't know what I was doing and trying to figure it out and trying to, I always worried, oh man, I need this person because I need the money. I need this for the money. I need this for the money. I was worried about the money, right? And then I started to stop thinking about the money and I started thinking about the growth, how I can grow, what I can do, what I'm doing wrong, blah, blah, blah. And after I did all of that and I started changing my mindset to growth, money just started coming in. Like it just started flowing. And then I started attracting the right people. My energy started bringing in the people I needed. And now I'm sitting here to a point, if I didn't ever want to work again, I don't have to work. I don't have to work because I don't have any debt. The only debt I have in my life, right? I don't have a car payment, a credit card payment. The only payment I have in my life are mortgages because I own houses. That's it. Besides that, I have no debt. So it's important. It's very important. And I got lost sidetrack right there for a sec. Sorry.
I was going back to when you pointed to the cameras behind you, because they wouldn't have been there if you didn't visualize the importance of doing that to get you to a future goal. And that's feeding into you visualizing the best version of yourself. This is all about you, Billionaire.
I'm going to show you something that's so crazy. This is how much I visualize. I'm going to show you something that you know because you probably do it too. Anybody that has a goal and is visualizing stuff, right? And this is only a couple weeks old. But look, I don't just visualize. I write so much that I can't even go a day without having a pen and a paper in my hand.
For those of you listening onto the podcast that aren't watching the video, Larry, our guest today, Larry Normile from Artistic Additions Tattoos, has just lifted up a stack full of composition books where he writes his goals down and visualizes the endpoints of these goals. And this is how he's systematically knocking them out.
So I have this one I'll show you. It's basically what I've done is I'm building books, and then I have other stuff. I even have businesses that I'm endeavor of buying. So I have a couple here, like I'm going to buy this one. So I did some stuff of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And I'm a numbers guy, so everything has to make sense number wise. I have people, entrepreneurs that I'm going to work with and mentor. So like exactly visualizing and documenting and writing down is so important because there's going to be moments you forget, right? You're going to sit there and you're going to say, oh, I was going to do this, and you visualized it at that moment, but with your life going on, you forget about it. But if you document it, write it down and video it, you got it.
Perfect. I've heard it said that losers will visualize the penalties of failure and winners will visualize the rewards of their success. And that's it's coming to reality. So, and visualization, that technique is just, it's visualizing the things that you want, it's seeing it and believing in it. And then it's making a mental blueprint so that you can actually begin to build it.
Like the vision board, man. The vision board is something that you hear everybody say, but you really don't understand it, right? And I knew because I didn't understand it when I first got into it. And that's another thing, the visualizing and the visual board. My vision board is so crazy. When people see what I have on a vision board, they're like, what in the world? Like I said, I wanted to have an island, right? But I wanted a different kind of island. I didn't want a regular island because I'm not regular, right? So I'm going to show you. And I said I wanted an island and I wanted a boat. So here's one of my vision board pictures, and I'm going to show you because it's kind of cool, honestly. That's one reason.
Oh, it's an island in a boat.
Right? So I can take my family. We go wherever we want.
Hold that back up to the screen, and because it's a speaker view, so hold it back up to the screen.
And you should appreciate this being aquatics guy.
That's awesome. You need to send me that picture. That's a great picture.
I will.
Yeah. That's amazing.
My vision board is that's why I need $1 billion. My vision board is expensive.
Island is expensive. A boat is expensive. An island is probably really expensive.
Yeah. The maintenance on it alone. So Yeah, that's all.
That's awesome. What you're doing here is not only visualizing, but you're actively taking steps, because once people get through to this point on the five tenets, they get to a point where they're visualizing, and then it's time for them to take action. And so what
Yeah.
you're living up to your highest potential. And I want you to speak to a minute on actually taking that step and living it.
So yeah, what I did was I realized I've gotten to a point where I was always going up in the green, right? And I've never, so numbers wise, obviously, I've always seen growth and it's always been a good number. Well, I've hit a number where I've gotten to the point where in my business, I can't make any more money without bringing in people I don't want to bring in, right? So the next step was I need to speak to people. I've been doing it for 15 years, helping kids, going to convent like I go to like detention centers and stuff like that. I speak with kids. I do it with kids all around here. Parents bring me their kids to do it with. So I've been doing that, and I know that's another revenue of income, but it's also what I believe I love doing more than anything. So I got lost. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna focus you back in. So you pointed to your heart when you said that, right? Because it's your,
That's where it's at.
where I'm
Yes.
getting at is that when people are true to their potential, it lines up with their passion, and so it becomes
Yes.
of who they are, because it's absolutely natural to be who you are. Everybody else is taken, and people
Yeah.
are unhappy with carrying this heavy burden because they're living an unfulfilled life. And because you hadn't really expanded on that, I want you to talk about what you're doing, because this is exactly your passions. It's speaking, and it's
You
mentoring.
know what's funny is you said it. You said everyone's taken. I love that. I'm going to use that in some way or another. I don't know where yet. But I love that one. It caught my heart. It made me like did a little flutter. I like it. What I'm doing right now is when I realized that I was at the point where I couldn't do anything, right? I started getting into investors. We started talking. I started traveling the world, going to different places because meeting with investors, right? And what I realized was I'm meeting with investors that are willing to do, and I mean, they're talking good numbers, but percentages of what they want out of it are crazy. So I was like, this isn't. I've never been a person to invest with somebody. I've always done it off my own. I've never used anybody else. I reached out to this Les Brown program, and I started doing this mentoring program with Les Brown because I needed somebody to help me um, figure out how to do it, right? How to get into this world where I can help, because in my heart I feel more excited and more accomplished in my life. I'm happy when I'm motivating somebody and I can see that change in them, right? When it comes to my kids or anybody around me, even my team. My phone blows up all day with my team blowing me up all day because of the excitement of growth. So that I think is what passion is. So right now I'm doing the Les Brown program, as you know, and honestly, I love it because I feel like he helps you understand how to speak. What you're doing with me right now, how you gave me this, anybody that comes on your podcast is going to make a difference because you're organized. Yours, your paperwork and what you sent me is probably the most organized and structured one I've gotten.
Well, thank you.
So that's all I'm doing now is trying to meet the right people to help me get to the right thing, because I am a cluster. As you can tell, I go off topic a lot. I When I get excited and I start talking, I'm just excited. I'm excited about talking to somebody with good energy, and I do get lost. And I think that's what I'm honing in now, is trying to get that part of my life out and just start focusing. And
Yeah,
with what you're doing is good, because that really is going to help people, man. What you're doing is going to help, because even these key ones here for the life script and all, you're doing it. You're doing a good job, man. Keep it going.
it takes continuous effort to,
Yeah.
and that's where I think a lot of people get stuck. People are stuck in the
Yeah.
comfort zones of life, and 97% of people live in the comfort zone, and only 3% of the people live in the effective zone. And the difference between the two is growth, and growth is uncomfortable. So when you talk about
Oh, 100%.
mindset, you're elevating your own standards, but you're bringing up your team with you into that 3%. You're taking them to places that they
Oh,
haven't been before, and they're getting excited about it. And the people that you're reaching, especially the youth that are troubled, that is a very noble cause, and it is going to be so powerful because you are living that part of your purpose to
mhm.
extend and provide service to others. So
And I'm
Winston,
going to do it with businesses. I'm
yeah,
going to do it with businesses, man, because businesses need it. Like what I realize a lot in businesses, when you elevate up, man, you're not in the business as much as you need to be, and they need that energy. They need to know, because sometimes it's just a cancer, and it's not like you have to fire a person. Sometimes they're just in the wrong position.
right,
Like
right.
a QA person doesn't need to be in there if they're negative. Just the deal.
Well, Winston Churchill was quoted saying that continuous effort, not strength or intelligence, is the key to unlocking our potential. And in
Yeah,
focusing, by writing, by channeling your energy, you are providing continuous effort and support to unlocking your potential. You're not using your strength, and intelligence. You are using continuous effort on that end, and it's obviously working. And when we said, be yourself, everybody else is taken. Well,
yeah,
no paycheck that's going to equal the feeling of contentment that
yep.
comes from being the person that you were meant to be. That is not my quote. That's from Oprah Winfrey. And it's true, because when you see the value of yourself, you then tend to further your own efforts, because it's just a natural thing, and it's who you were meant to be, and nothing can equal that feeling.
No, ever.
What I'm like to turn to here, Larry, is because we're talking about living up to that highest potential is, all right, they've gone through the 5 tenets, or the first part of it. Then they've focused their energy and they're now living up. Now they have all this focused energy into an arena of their potential. But now what do they do with it? All right. And so here's where it kind of bookends and wraps everything together. And that's, they focus and they give purpose to their
Mhm.
potential. I want you to speak on that, because we're just now talking about getting focused on our potential, and I want you to speak to that, because it's happening in your own life.
So you want what you want out of this, so I can understand it right, is you want my ultimate reason of why, my
Well,
purpose,
I know
or
everybody has a purpose, and some of them may admit it and some of them may not admit it. You have found your purpose. What I'm talking about is leading people to understand why it's important to give purpose for their potential, because there could be that part of you that exists and it aligns with your passion and it is your purpose. But if you don't give a specific reason and focus for giving a reason to do that, then there's a discord, there is a waste, there is an unused effort in people's
yeah.
lives that is very tragic, honestly.
So I feel like you already answered the question for me on that part, because that helps me, to be honest with you. The purpose in my life is just to change the world one day at a time, like with positive and growth mindsets, because I feel like that's what we're missing in life, is we don't have it. We don't have you go on social media and Facebook, right? I won't even really get on there. And right now, I'm glad, because of the Your Power Voice and the Motivate and the Mastermind program. I see a lot of that, but it's filled with so much negativity that it creates you. Like, you wake up in the morning and people are picking up their phones, and the first thing they're doing is looking at their social media filled with negativity, and then that's where you start your day. Where I don't. I wake up. First thing I do when I wake up is I thank God for waking me up, and I just think about stuff I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for being a billionaire. I know I will be. I know I asked for it. I believe that I'm going to receive it. When it's going to happen, I don't know, but these cameras will catch it. That's all I know. That's all I 100% do know. So at the end of the day, it's just positivity, man. Like, my purpose is a positivity and understanding that you have to be able to change your mindset when times do. You can't keep the same mindset and expect a different outcome. And
That's
it's just, they say it a million different ways, but that's just how I think it. My mindset changes. That's why I'm a billionaire mindset.
that's awesome, and very very true, and that's like echoing the words of Jim Rome, who said that, if you want something different in your life, you got to do something different. You have to become something that you aren't. You have to do the things necessary today in order to have the things tomorrow that others won't have, and that's what you're doing. Grant Cardone is a very, he's a go-getter, right? He is an ultimate top of the top when it comes to motivating your life to make absolute changes for the necessary for success. And he said that treating success as an option is one of the major reasons why more people don't create it for themselves, and why most people don't even get close to living up to their full potential. And what you're doing is you're seeing your success, you're living it, you're visualizing it, you're rising up to meet challenges, and you're fulfilling it because you don't see it as an option. It is this do or die. And alluding to what we said earlier, where it's tragic that there's no heavier burden than an unfulfilled potential. And those are words from Charles Schulz, which is the American cartoonist that came up with Charlie Brown and Snoopy. Imagine if he didn't fulfill his passion. We wouldn't even know who,
Yeah,
you know? I mean, the one
that's true.
to have what we have to offer, but people, they rob the rest of us because they don't live a fulfilled life. So,
Yeah.
I'm
And,
going to want if in any closing remarks here, I want to thank you again for your time, Larry. This has been, I know your words have been very helpful for someone. It's going to speak to somebody, one of my listeners, and even if it just spoke to one person, I think we're on the right path. So
hey, I'll take one. It's better than none.
this is great. Thanks, Larry, for your time. I'm Captain Rex on the Ready, Set, Live podcast. I want to thank my listeners for their time driving around, listening to the radio, inside your iPod, your iPhone, wherever you hear my voice and my listeners' voices. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm here to remind you that life is not found between all the isms and the schisms of life. It's time to quit the paralysis of analysis and then jump in with both feet. Go all in on your dreams. And when you couple your potential with your purpose, it will align with your passion, and then the universe will unfold for you. And I have to say that with a strict warning, because although this is true, it almost surely will prove that all dreams will be tested for authenticity. So be ready to face those challenges, but develop yourself and develop that billionaire mindset. And this is my man Larry to get yourself started and
Oh,
in life. So I'm Rex Witkamp. It's been an honor to have you. Thank you for rising above your mediocrity. Thank you for elevating your standards. Thank you for visualizing the best version of yourself, living up to your highest potential, and then giving purpose, laser focused purpose for your potential. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks,
oh,
Larry.
thank you. Thank you. I
See you. Have
appreciate
a great rest of your day.
it. You too.
Yeah, brother. Yeah.
Have a good